add the Divi Modal Popup to the page first. So I'm going to add Divi Modal Popup. Then we need to select the trigger type. So what are the trigger type? Let's take a quick look. If you like to trigger the pop-up on load of a page and after a specific delay, so you will select this option here. If you like it to enable on an exit intent, for example, if user try to exit the page, you can select this. And some of the most element on visible elements. So if you like to trigger it on click of a button or click of an image, let's say this is an image that you would like to use as a trigger, so you could do that. You could also select an icon. There are a lot of icons that you could pick from the icon list here, or you can use text. So this is a text, and if user clicks on it, the trigger will be it will act as a trigger and the pop-up will be displayed. And this is a basic setting if you like to exit the pop-up on press of the escape button on the keyboard. So this is how the triggers works here. And going a little advanced, if you like to use any other let's say Divi module as your trigger element, you could do that. You could add an ID or a class to that element, and you can specify the CSS ID, the name of the ID that you have given to the element here, or you could do it using the class. So let's say you have an element of, let's say, team member module, or you have counter module, or any other module, or any HTML that has an ID or a class. So in this case, a class. So my class, this will trigger the pop-up if my class is clicked on. So we'll just remove it for now and try to use a basic button for a pop-up. So element, and then we select button, and we select click to open. So this is our trigger button. Now modal header, the first line of the text, it's not necessary. If you like to hide it, you can do that as well, but just in case if you like to use it, here goes the title. And if you like to display a close icon, you could do that, or the user can enter the escape button on the keyboard from the previous setting. So let's include the icon for closing it. Now the most important thing is the body, what you would like to display in the modal. So you could either display a text, image, video, or Divi library layout. So if you select text, you'll have to enter the text here, and it will be displayed when user clicks on the pop-up. So let's go and execute this, the very basic format, and we'll try to run the code and see how does it appears. So click to open, and this is the text that we have selected. Now if there were a little changes in our structure, let's say you wanted to display an image. So these are all tiny images, maybe we need to pick up a little larger. This is a decent size, so let's use this image and save the page. Our trigger is a button, and when a user clicks on it, an image will pop up with a title here. So this is how you could do it. You have full control on how you display your bottom, the button at the end of that is at the footer. So if you don't like to display it, that can be done as well. So if you go and reload it, you don't have that button. In the same manner, you can get rid of this and this close button, and user will have to press escape on the keyboard to get rid of this. So that is the basic setting that will let you create a pop-up and then manage it. Now let's say we do not want the header as well. I'll just go for a live demo and close modal on escape. So that is the setting that we'll need here. And let's try to change the element this time. This time our element will be, let's pick up an image. So if a user clicks on the Divi extended icon, the pop-up will be triggered. I'm just saving the page and I will go and reload up here. Let's see what happens. So this is our modal. So you have a full control on what you want to display, what you do not want to display. You could also optimize the design here. We have a great control on the alignment, we have a control on where you want to display the pop-up. Let's say you would like to display it at the bottom center or perhaps at the bottom right. So let's see how does it appears. Reload the page, trigger, and the bottom right corner is there where you have your pop-up now. So we have a great control, and you'll be able to guide your pop-up to the proper alignment and the sizing, and you will see as we have configured. So let's make it a little bigger this time, maybe 100%, and somewhere in the center. So let's save it. Alright, now this is the size of the image. The maximum available size of the image is displayed. So you need to specify the pop-up image in a size that fits the screen of a user. That is the sizing. Or you just try to make it a little, make some adjustment, and it should appear as per your formatting. So I'm just going to make it a little narrow. So let's say, not this one, I'm sorry. So I'm just going to make it like 70, and let's try reloading. And here is our pop-up at the middle of the screen. So this is all dependent on you. You will be able to control the size and how you want the pop-up to appear. I'm just going to reset it for now. If you like to use any other element, let's say you like to display the pop-up on click of any other Divi module. So let's pick up CSS ID here. So any Divi module on the page that has an ID will execute or will launch this pop-up. So call it my ID. I'm going to call it my ID, and I'll just try to add a section or anything on the page. Let's say a regular section. Maybe a circle counter, and I will assign my ID. So this ID is the ID which I have assigned to this counter, and if a user clicks on this ID or the element with that ID, what will happen? Let's do it. It will trigger the pop-up. So this is how you would be able to trigger the pop-up on click of any module. If it's a CSS class, you could use class. If you like to use ID, it just similar. Both of these works almost in the same manner. Now let's go and take a look at some other areas. I'm just going to get rid of it, and this is my setting. Now let's say I would like to execute this pop-up or like to trigger it on the load of the page. So I'll select on page load, and this is the time 3000 milliseconds, so it's 3 seconds, and the pop-up loads. If I would like this to not load repeatedly on every page, I will disable it, or maybe I will just let it go for now. So the pop-up now loads every time the page is loaded after 3 seconds. Here it is, and if I load again, there it is. And if this setting is disabled, the repetition will held up for next 24 hours. It will not repeat for next 24 hours. It will just load on the page once. Here it is. I'm going to disable it now. I mean, it will just simply not load because we have disabled it from the setting. The design tab has control on how you would like to format the modal, the trigger elements, and how you would like to format the window, the main pop-up window. So you just enable the control for the trigger button, trigger text, and you would be able to do it. So if you like to do a modal title text formatting, you could do it from here. Modal body, the close button formatting, and a lot of other customization options are available here that you could try. You could set a height or width of the modal, the location or the position where you would like to display, as we discussed earlier. So that's all. Uh, you would be able to use a great combination of these and display a modal pop-up. And finally, if you like to display item from the Divi library, you would be able to get it um, displayed as well. So let's say you like to display something from the Divi library. So on the modal body, you select content type as Divi library, and then it will give you which library item would you like to display in the modal pop-up. So let's say I would like to go for a lengthy page that has something on it. So let's see how does that works. I'm going to load the page and wait for 3 seconds. And here it is. So this was a library item that I had saved, and I just decided to show. So user would be able to see a large library layout with a lot of content on it, or you could also display some tiny piece of blocks, for example, like this. Let's reload the page. Like this. So a lot of things that you could use here. That could be library, that could be some nested elements. If you're using some of our plugins like Divi Plus, it gives you control on adding tabs, content toggle, and that could be displayed in this as well. So this is how you would be able to get started with Divi Modal Popup. You would be able to use the basic features, and if you come across a situation where you need further assistance, you could contact us and we'll be happy to help you.